The call for help the galaxy was burning. War had spread across star systems like fire on dry grass. Entire fleets had been destroyed, cities turned to dust, and governments left helpless. The enemy was not just powerful, they were ruthless. They broke every world that stood against them. In this chaos, the Galactic Alliance, a group of proud alien civilizations, had only one choice. They had to ask Earth for help. For centuries, Earth had been treated with caution. Humanity was known as dangerous, unpredictable, and stubborn. The Alliance feared humans as much as they respected them. Still, desperate times demanded desperate measures, and so the message was sent. We need reinforcements. Send us soldiers, send us armies, send us everything you have. The plea echoed across space until it reached Earth. Humans listened in silence. Leaders of the Terran Federation sat around long tables, their faces hard. They knew the galaxy expected human soldiers, brave warriors with guns and ships. But this time, Earth had something else in mind. When the human fleet finally arrived at the war front, the aliens were waiting. Hundreds of commanders, generals, and leaders stood on the station docks, there. Eyes searched for warships loaded with soldiers. But what they saw left them speechless. Only 7 transports landed. From them stepped not soldiers in armor, but men and women in plain clothes. They carried no rifles, no heavy weapons, only small cases and strange devices. Some wore glasses, others had messy hair. Some were engineers, some were hackers, some were scientists. None of them looked like warriors. The alien commanders shouted in anger, "Is this a joke, Earth? We asked for an army. You send this?" The human leader, a tall woman named Dr. Elena Carter, stepped forward. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "You asked for reinforcements. We sent you the most dangerous people on Earth." The aliens laughed. They thought Earth had insulted them. How could thinkers fight soldiers? How could minds stop fleets? But the humans did not argue. They moved quietly, setting up their strange devices, typing on glowing screens, whispering to each other. The aliens watched with confusion. One alien officer whispered to another, "Where are their weapons? How will they fight?" The human leader only smiled. "We don't fight like you. We don't need to." Hours later, the first sign of change came. An enemy fleet, approaching with confidence, suddenly turned against itself. Its own guns fired at its own ships. Its engines failed in the middle of combat. Its communications broke into chaos. The alien commanders stood frozen. They had seen sabotage before, but not like this. The humans had done it in minutes, without lifting a weapon. Dr. Elena looked at them. "You asked for soldiers. Can die? We sent you something that cannot be killed with bullets. We sent you our minds." Fear and curiosity mixed in the hearts of the aliens. They had begged for an army, but Earth had given them something far worse. In the shadows of that war-torn station, whispers began to spread. The humans were not here to fight battles. They were here to break systems. The aliens realized too late. Reinforcements had arrived, but not the kind they expected. The war was about to change forever. The arrival of the mines. The alien commanders were still arguing when the humans moved deeper into the station. The corridors were full of tension. Everywhere, soldiers in heavy armor carried rifles and blades. Their eyes followed the humans with disbelief. These were supposed to be the reinforcements? They looked more like teachers, mechanics, and office workers. One alien soldier whispered, "They will die in the first battle." Another spat on the floor. "Earth mocks us. They send weaklings." But the humans ignored them. Their faces were calm, their eyes were sharp. They walked with confidence, not arrogance. Each step felt deliberate, as if they already knew where they were going. At the center of the station was the war room. Giant screens showed maps of the galaxy, enemy fleets closing in, planets falling, and cities burning. The alien generals pointed at the screens. arguing over where to send their last ships. The human team entered quietly. The aliens turned to face them, eyes filled with doubt and anger. Dr. Elena Carter stepped forward, placing a small case on the table. "We don't need to move your ships. We need to move your enemy," she said calmly. The aliens laughed in her face. "Move the enemy? Do you think they are puppets on strings?" One shouted. Another slammed his fist on the table. "We need weapons, not words." But the humans didn't answer. They simply opened their cases. Inside were machines unlike anything the aliens had seen, strange black tubes glowing with faint blue lines, handheld devices with wires and blinking lights, screens full of running code. The scientists and engineers got to work instantly. They plugged devices into the station systems. Their fingers typed so fast, the keys seemed to vanish under their touch. Some drew symbols and equations on the glass walls. Others whispered to each other in codes and numbers. The aliens stared, confused. "What are they doing?" "This is not war. This is madness," one muttered. Then something strange happened. The lights flickered, the screens shifted, and the enemy fleet on the display froze in place. Alarms rang in the war room, not from the station itself, but from the enemy's side. Ships in the enemy formation began to drift out of line. Engines died, weapon systems went offline, and then, in a moment that made every alien in the room silent, 2 enemy cruisers turned their cannons, not toward the station, but toward their own allies. The room fell silent. The alien generals stared at the humans with wide eyes. How did you do this?" One asked in disbelief. Dr. Elena only smiled. "We don't fight your wars. We rewrite them." A younger human, a thin boy with messy hair and thick glasses, adjusted a small device in his hands. "They build their systems to be strong," he explained softly. "But strength has patterns. Patterns can be broken. We don't attack soldiers. We attack the rules that hold them together." The aliens exchanged looks of shock. For the first time, they began to understand. Earth had not sent warriors because warriors could be killed. Earth had sent minds because minds could not be stopped. Still, doubt lingered. One alien commander leaned forward. "You disabled a few ships. Impressive. But the enemy is endless. You cannot break them all." Dr. Elena turned, her eyes burning. "We don't need to break them all," she whispered. "We only need to break their belief in victory." The room went silent again. The weight of her words sank deep into every heart. Some aliens still doubted. Some whispered that humans were tricksters, cowards hiding behind machines. But others began to feel something new. Not anger, not fear, something colder, sharper, something that tasted like hope. And in the shadows of the war room, as the humans worked in silence, one alien general whispered, almost to himself, "If this is how they begin, then what will they do next?" The question hung in the air like a blade. The humans did not answer. They only kept working, fingers moving like storms over the controls. And somewhere, out in the darkness of space, the enemy began to realize something was watching them, something that fought without firing a single shot, something that could break their systems before they even pulled the trigger. For the first time, the hunters felt hunted. The most dangerous minds of Earth had arrived. Breaking the first system, the station was still buzzing with arguments when the humans made their move. The aliens thought they had seen everything when a few enemy ships turned on each other. But that was only the beginning. Dr. Elena and her team didn't speak much. They simply worked, hands typing, wires connecting, screens flashing codes faster than any alien eyes could follow. The aliens leaned over their shoulders, trying to understand. But what they saw made no sense. Long strings of numbers, spinning symbols, broken enemy maps being drawn and redrawn. It was like watching someone write a language that no one else could read. Then it happened. One human, a young woman named Maya, pressed a single button. On the screen, a red enemy supply convoy appeared. 40 ships loaded with fuel and weapons. Heading to reinforce the front lines, the aliens watched closely. Weapons on the station were not even aimed at the convoy. No ships launched intercept. Instead, the human devices hummed softly, as if whispering to the void. On the screen, the enemy convoy slowed, and one by one, the ships stopped. Engines offline, shields down, weapons frozen. The aliens gasped. "What have you done?" One shouted. Maya didn't look up. "I broke their instructions," she whispered. "Their captains don't know how to move without them." The silence was heavy. Then the impossible happened. Half of the convoy turned around, but not toward the front lines. They set course for enemy territory, carrying weapons and fuel back home. The aliens' jaws dropped. "Doctor," Alina's voice was calm. "Supply lines are the heart of war. You asked for soldiers to fight your enemy. We are cutting their blood flow instead." Panic spread among the enemy fleet. They didn't know why their own ships had betrayed them. They accused one another, commanders screaming into coms, fleets turning on fleets. Inside the station, the alien generals could only watch, their mouths dry, their hearts racing. They were seeing history change in real time. One old alien general leaned forward, whispering, This is sorcery." But a younger human, a hacker named Jonah, only smiled. "Not sorcery," he said softly. "Just systems. Systems can be broken. Systems can be rewritten." On the battlefield, chaos exploded. Enemy ships fired on each other. Believing betrayal was real, allies became enemies in seconds. The aliens in the war room stared at the humans with new eyes. For the first time, fear and respect mixed in their gaze. One commander finally spoke, his voice shaking. "You are not. Warriors, you are. Monsters, Doctor." Helena turned her head slowly. "No," she said. "We are worse than monsters. Monsters can be killed. We can't." The words cut through the room like a blade. The aliens realized the truth. They had begged Earth for reinforcements, expecting flesh and steel. Instead, Earth had given them people who killed without guns, who destroyed without bombs, who could end wars without ever stepping on a battlefield. Out in the darkness of space, the enemy fleets were breaking apart, not from weapons, but from whispers in their systems. And in the war room, no one dared to laugh at the humans anymore, because now they understood. Earth hadn't just sent mines. Earth had sent something that could tear down empires without firing a single shot. The galaxy would never be the same again. Masters of Chaos, the galaxy was watching. News of the broken supply convoy spread faster than light. Entire systems whispered of fleets turning against themselves, ships fighting allies, captains screaming. In confusion, the enemy called it betrayal. The Alliance called it a miracle. The humans called it step one, Doctor. Helena and her team stood in the war room. Their devices glowed like fireflies. Each screen showed chaos unfolding, but they were not finished. One alien general finally asked, his voice uneasy, "What are you planning next?" "DR." Helena didn't answer. She simply nodded to her team. Jonah, the quiet hacker, leaned forward. His fingers tapped like thunder across the console. He whispered to himself, numbers and codes pouring from his lips like a chant. Then, far away, in space, the enemy command hub blinked out. Not destroyed, not bombed, simply erased. Screens went dark. Messages scrambled into nonsense. Their commanders screamed orders, but their ships heard only static. The enemy fleets began to drift like blind beasts in the dark. Some fired weapons at shadows. Others collided with each other. A war machine built on perfect order was now drowning in chaos. The aliens inside the war room froze. Their world had always been about strength, armies, and firepower. But these humans fought with silence, and silence was far deadlier. One alien commander whispered, "You are not soldiers. You are chaos itself." "Doctor," Alana's lips curled into a thin smile. Chaos is only dangerous to those who depend on control. Her words hit like a storm. The humans began their second strike, not against fleets this time, but against fear. They hacked guns across enemy territory, and into the ears of millions of enemy soldiers came a single human voice, calm and cold. Your systems are ours. Your orders are broken. Your war is already lost. That one message was enough to shake an empire. Enemy fleets panicked. Entire crews mutinied. Captains fired on their own officers. Fear spread faster than fire. The aliens on the station stared in disbelief. Some were terrified. Others felt hope rising inside them for the first time in years. One young alien soldier whispered, "They are not fighting the war. They are rewriting it." Outside, the galaxy shifted. The enemy who once seemed unstoppable now looked weak. Their fleets scattered, their soldiers afraid, and all of it was done without a single human ship firing a gun. In the silence of the war room, Dr. Elena finally spoke. "You asked for reinforcements. We gave you something better. We gave you the end of order." The aliens felt chills in their bones. They realized the humans were not here to fight battles. They were here to unmake them. The most dangerous minds on Earth had become the masters of chaos, and the galaxy had only just begun to understand what that meant. The fear spreads fear is stronger than any weapon. The enemy learned this truth faster than anyone. Across the stars, their fleets drifted in confusion. Their systems no longer obeyed. Their orders scrambled. Ships collided. Soldiers mutinied. Commanders shouted at shadows. It was not war anymore. It was collapse in the war room. The alien generals watched with disbelief. Every map on the screens showed enemy fleets breaking apart like shattered glass. The humans stood silent, their faces calm. To them, this was not victory yet. This was only the beginning. Jonah, the hacker with quiet eyes, typed another sequence on the screen. Enemy propaganda stations lit up. Towers that once broadcast pride now screamed panic. The enemy's own worlds received false messages. The fleets are gone. The war is lost. Your leaders are dead. Cities turned on their rulers. Civilizations began to riot, all from words whispered into systems. Dr. Elena finally spoke, her voice like steel. Fear is faster than ships. Fear travels through every system, every soldier, every mind. And once fear takes root, no empire can survive. The aliens in the war room stared at her, some with awe, some with terror. One commander whispered, "You are not reinforcements. You are executioners." But the humans didn't flinch. They didn't deny it. They didn't need to, an enemy. Space, chaos spread like wildfire. Admirals accused their subordinates of betrayal. Soldiers abandoned posts. Entire fleets fired on each other in blind panic. And through it all, the humans only watched, guiding the chaos with a touch here, a whisper there. The aliens could barely breathe. They had seen great battles. They had seen worlds burn, but they had never seen an empire unravel without a single shot fired. One young alien soldier finally understood. He turned to his general and whispered, "They don't destroy armies, they destroy trust." The words echoed in the silent war room. Yes, trust was gone, and without trust, number order, no command, no empire could stand. Dr. Elana's team exchanged brief nods. Their work was far from done. But already the galaxy had changed. Whispers began spreading even among the Alliance worlds. Some asked if humans were saviors. Others whispered they were demons in disguise. It didn't matter. Fear had already taken hold, and fear was the weapon Earth had unleashed. The most dangerous minds were no longer just fighting the enemy. They were rewriting the balance of the galaxy itself. The enemy's last gamble. The enemy had one weapon left: desperation. Their fleets were breaking. Their systems were collapsing. Their soldiers no longer trusted their commanders. Fear was everywhere, but desperate rulers are dangerous. In the darkness of their empire, The high command gathered. They shouted, raged, tore at one another, until one plan was chosen. If they could not win the war, they would burn it. They built a weapon of silence, a signal meant to cut all systems, not just human tricks, but everything: ships, stations, even planets. It was a suicide move, a weapon that would drag the galaxy into darkness. In the war room, the humans saw it first. Jonah leaned over his console, his voice sharp. They're building something big, a blackout signal. If they fire it, everything dies. The aliens froze. Their blood turned cold. They had begged for reinforcements to save their world. Now it seemed even survival was slipping away. Dr. Elena stepped forward, her eyes calm, her voice steady. "Then we don't stop their weapon," she whispered. "We make it turn on them." Her team moved like lightning. Maya traced symbols across the glass wall. Jonah hammered code into the console. Others whispered numbers back and forth like soldiers sharing bullets. Time was running out. Out in the void, the enemy weapon pulsed with growing light. A signal began to rise, ready to sweep across stars. The aliens in the war room held their breath. One commander gripped the table, his claws digging into the steel. "If they fail, we all vanish," he muttered. Then it happened. The weapon fired. A ripple of silence spread through the void. Systems flickered, lights dimmed, ships slowed. But then the silence twisted. The ripple bent back. It did not sweep through the galaxy. It curved and turned like a serpent. It struck the enemy first. Their own fleets went dark. Their stations shut down. Their weapons froze in mid-charge. Worlds across their empire blinked out in seconds. The aliens gasped, their eyes wide with shock. They reversed it. They turned their weapon against them. One whispered. Jonah leaned back, sweat on his brow. "They thought they built fire," he said softly, "but all they built was a mirror." Enemy commanders screamed into dead channels. Their own weapon had become their executioner. The war room fell into silence. Every alien inside stared at the humans, no longer with doubt, no longer with anger, only with the cold understanding that they were standing beside something far greater than they had ever imagined. Dr. Elena finally spoke, her voice a whisper that cut through the silence. "This is what you asked for," she said. "Reinforcements, Earth-style." The aliens lowered their heads, some in respect, some in fear, because now they understood. The humans had not just saved them. The humans had changed the war itself. The enemy's last gamble had failed, and Earth's most dangerous minds had proven there was no system, no weapon, no empire that could stand against them. The new order, the war was over. But the galaxy was not silent. The enemy's fleets were gone, their systems broken. Their own weapon had destroyed them. Their empire crumbled like ash in the wind on the Alliance station. The aliens stood frozen, staring at the humans. They had asked for reinforcements. And Earth had something they never expected. Not soldiers, not ships, not guns, but minds. The most dangerous minds humanity had ever forged. Dr. Elena looked across the war room. Her team stood with her, silent, calm, as if they had not just ended an empire. One alien general finally spoke, his voice low. "You saved us, but at what cost? You changed everything." Elena turned her gaze to him. Her eyes were sharp. "Change was always the cost," she whispered. The aliens shifted uneasily. They had been saved, yes, but now they feared what came next, because humans had not just fought the war. They had rewritten the rules of war itself, and once rules are broken, they cannot be unbroken. Jonah stepped forward, his voice calm but heavy. "You thought war was ships, weapons, numbers. You thought reinforcements meant soldiers. But soldiers are slow. Systems are faster. Minds are faster still. We don't fight like you. We don't need to." His words struck deep. The aliens finally understood humanity was not just another species. Humanity was something new, Something that broke patterns, something that broke order, a dangerous truth filled the war room. The galaxy would never be the same again, Doctor. Elena turned back to the maps. Enemy space was in flames, their worlds in chaos. You call this victory, she said. But this is only the beginning. The war is done. Now comes the new order. The aliens trembled, some with fear, some with awe, because they knew what she meant. Humanity had not come only to save all eyes. Humanity had come to lead, not with armies, not with fleets, but with minds that could tear down any empire, any system, any chain of command. One young alien whispered what all of them were thinking. We begged for help, and Earth answered. Now Earth owns the future. The war room fell into silence. Outside, the galaxy shifted. Alliances bent, empires broke, systems trembled. All because Earth had unleashed its most dangerous people. The war was over, but the story of humanity was just beginning, and the galaxy would have no choice but to follow.